Hi, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Something Else podcast. My name is Gabriella, and I am your host. Happy Sunday, but by the time you see this, it'll be Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. MST time. MST because I'm Mountain Time. Of course, of course, of course. So I hope everybody's Sunday is going good. And this is recorded on Super Bowl Sunday, so, yeah, by this time, we know who won and who lost. And it's a sad story for many and a happy story for others. But I'm excited to be here with you today and to talk about our topic for this week. We're talking about real friends. And if you follow me on Instagram, and you should, the Something Else podcast, at the Something Else podcast, I did a poll and I allowed the viewers, the subscribers, people who listen to the podcast to choose what we would be talking about this week. And everybody said real friends. There were three choices: the joy of the Lord, real friends, and letting your light shine. I had to recall because I was like, wait a minute. And real friends won. So we're going to talk about real friends today. But before we get into that, I am drinking some spearmint tea. I mean, if you want to get your skin clear, spearmint tea. And I started taking these vitamins from the Garden of Life. They're not sponsoring me or anything, but they should be, of course. And I mean, I feel so good. Like usually like during the day, like sometimes I was so tired. I'm like, oh my God, why am I so tired? And if you're a woman, you know that there's a particular week before the week of the week that you just feel so lethargic. You're like, oh, I need a nap. I need a nap. And I started taking these vitamins and I feel good. I feel like my skin feels good too. It looks good. Even though it's like winter here. So yeah. But getting sidetracked here. So we're talking about real friends today. And I love this topic because I'm really passionate about like relationships, platonic and romantic, business relationships, like any kind of relationship, because being in relationship with others doesn't necessarily have to be romantic, but it is a sign of God's goodness. So I really enjoy talking about relationships. And I can honestly say that I have great friends. If you are watching this, I love you and I appreciate you and I'm so grateful for you. I really do have great friends. And some of my friends are older than me, some of my friends are younger than me, some of my friends are in different places in life, and it's so beautiful to see. Some of my closest friends, like they have kids, they're in medical school, they have great careers, they have businesses, they're married, and there's just like so much that I can learn from the people in my life, and I'm so blessed to have that because some people don't have that. And if you don't, I really pray that the Lord will send you people that can lift you up, cheer you on, and really support you and, just bless you. Because that's like a really, really, really a treasure to have. You know what I mean? People who can honestly just stand with you and just love on you. It's so important. And that's why, honestly, I can't wait to go back home. Like I can't wait to like go back to my hometown and be able to see my friends and my family and just kick it with them and just enjoy the vibes. And also this week is like Valentine's Day week. So I have my earrings on and my pink and my red. So feeling in the spirit. So yeah. And that's so funny. We're talking about friendships, relationships. Love to see it. Anyways, so yeah, that it's really important to have people who like look out for you, love you, and really support you. And when it comes to friendships, it's not like a one size fits all. Like you're going to meet your friends in like different places, different spaces in life, things like that. But the most important thing about friendships is being on one accord. Although you guys may come from different backgrounds, um, you know, come from different paths of life, it is important to be on one accord. Like, I cannot stress that enough. Because if you are someone who loves the things of God, is passionate about the things of God, and you go to church every Sunday, you go during the week, you serve in church, but your best friend is someone who is intolerant to your faith. You bring up God and they're like, and they don't want to hear it. You know, they're still going to the club, they're still getting drunk, they're still smoking. You're going to have issues. That's just the reality of the matter of the fact. Two cannot walk together unless they agree. And my dad used to always say this to me, and I didn't really understand at the time. But then as I got older and I went through different life experiences, it really dawned on me how important it is to be on one accord, because you're going to have issues. One person is going to come, either one person is going to go to the other side or the other person is going to go to the other side. Sometimes you can walk in a straight line for a while, but there's going to come a time where there's going to become conflict. And I think the thing with friendships, being able to divulge your heart to the person and share with your friends pieces of your life, and it not be like, okay, I don't want to hear it, is very important. Because sometimes there's people in friendships where you start to tell them, oh my God, girl, service was so good. Bro, like, service was so good today. And they're like, I want to hear it. All of a sudden, that's a thing. That's a real thing. So with friendships, it's important for y'all to be on one accord. That doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to be in the same place in life. You know what I mean? That doesn't always happen that way, but I think having common goals and interests is pretty important. Especially if they're going to be like close friends. Let's address that. You have different types of friends. You have friends that are in your inner circle, and you have friends that are like associates, and you have friends that y'all talk maybe a few times out the year, and it's like y'all don't miss a beat. There's different kinds of friendships. Not every friendship is the same, but it's important to know where to place your friends so that you don't end up being disappointed. Because some of us are placing our associates in our inner circle and getting upset with them when we don't feel like they are reciprocating the same type of attention and intention that we have towards them and give it back to us. No, you didn't place them in the right place. And that doesn't necessarily mean that there is anything wrong with the person. It just means that you have to place them in the right place. And I really, really love the story of David and Jonathan in the Bible, because the Bible talks about David and Jonathan, their souls were knit together. Even though Jonathan was the son of Saul, and if you know the story of Saul, tragic, tragic, tragic. I mean, that is more tragic than days of our lives. You know, Saul was happy when people was cheering him. Oh, okay. He said, But then when he heard that they was cheering on David more than him, Saul said, no, He wanted David's head, but he knew that God had anointed David. So he knew that there was nothing he could do. All he could do was slide his back down the wall in the corner and cry. And I think that's a great story and a great example to look at. Friends who have your back. That is so important. Friends who have your back and who can hold your hand up when you cannot hold your hand up yourself. That is so important. Some of us have friends that the only time they are popping out for us is when we about to go to the club. The only time they about to pop out for you is if you about to go do some nonsense. The only time they gonna hit you up, they want to talk to you, is if you gonna smoke. Put that in the recycling bin. That's gotta go. Those are not real friends. If you cannot call your friend and say, hey bro, hey sis, like, I am feeling down and I need someone to talk to, or I need someone to pray for me, or I need someone just to be here with me. If you cannot call your friend to divulge those things, but when it's time to go crash out, when it's time to go ride off of a cliff into the abyss, they passenger seat with you, that is a problem. And I have said this, and I will say this again. A friend that is a yes man or a yes woman is worse than an enemy, because then that means that they will see you out till you destroy yourself. They will see you out into destruction. A friend that, I gotta say it again, a friend that is a yes man or a yes woman is worse than an enemy. They will see you out to destruction. They will escort you to they will be passenger seat to your demise. And it's easy to see that nowadays, because we could even see in the media. You ever see somebody on social media and you be like, dang, does this person have any friends that have told them to stop? Does this person have any friends that have said, girl, calm down, take it back? Does this person have any friends that will say, bruh, leave the drugs alone? Like, you're off the, do they have any friends? And I get it. Sometimes your friends may not always listen, but it's important that you at least speak up. Because if you see someone that you say, oh, that's like my brother, that's my blood, that's like my sister, like that's my girl, and you see them going to destroy themselves, and you do not say, hold up, wait a minute, take it back a second now. Let's put it in reverse, and we got to press the gas and reverse all the way back home. If you do not have the desire to even say heart check, we have to heart check. Because for me, even when I see my friends going off the hinges or it's looking a little rocky, I'm like, wait, hold on, sis. Hold on. Wait. Let's bring it back a second. Let's come back. We need to come back for a second, and we need to reevaluate. I'm like, bro, I think you're over exaggerating a little bit, and I'm going to tell you why. Like, sound voices are important in friendships. Very important. Let's look at an example. 1 Samuel 23 verse 16. And Jonathan, Saul's son, rose and went to David at Horesh and strengthened his hand in God. And Jonathan, Saul's son, rose and went to David at Horesh and strengthened his hand in God. I mean, that's self-explanatory. You need friends who are going to be able to lift you up. Period. You need friends that are going to be able to support you. You need friends that are going to be able to encourage you. You need friends that will tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, sis, why don't we read our Bible? Why don't we read this plan? Why don't you come to church with me? Why don't we go for a walk? Why don't we go to the beach? You need people who will strengthen you in God. That is a gift. And I hope my friends know, I pray for y'all. I pray for y'all. I say, Lord, touch my friends. If I'm praying and there's a particular person that God brings up to me and pops into my mind, I begin to call out that person by name. That's the type of friend that I am. Because a lot of the times we do not know the battle that people are fighting behind closed doors. And friends, the people that we are in relationship with, fight battles that they don't necessarily tell you about. Sometimes people can be embarrassed about what they're going through behind closed doors. They can be ashamed. They can be sad about it. They can be, just down on themselves because they don't want to tell anybody. That's why it's important sometimes to, Lord, remember this person. Lord, touch this person. Lord, meet this person. I really do. I pray for all my friends because maybe they won't tell me, but the Lord knows them by name. The Lord knows them better than I could ever know them. So if the Lord knows them, whether they believe in God or not, because I really don't care if you believe in God or not, I'm still going to pray for you. I'm still going to call your name before God because God knows you. He created you. I'm still going to call you up before him. I know sometimes, like, especially people who are believers, we're like, oh yeah, they don't want to hear it. Oh, so I'm not going to say anything. Oh, they don't want to hear it, so I'm just going to keep it to myself. No, you should speak about it. If your friend is someone who respects you, they'll listen. Sometimes I don't agree with what some of my friends talk about. I'm like, what is this girl talking about? What is this man talking about? I don't always agree, but I listen. Just because you don't agree with someone doesn't necessarily mean you have to say talk to the hand. Like it doesn't have to be like that. That's a sign of intolerance, and that's a whole conversation for a whole nother day. And that's why we're in the climate that we're in now, because the moment someone does not agree with you, the moment they don't see eye to eye to you, oh, I'm not going to be your friend no more. Oh, I don't want to talk. Wait a second. Wait. We were never friends if you could just toss me away because we disagree. That's just what it is. Because if you think about it, if only God treated some of us the way we treat our friends, man, some of us would be in hellfire a long time ago. Thank God that He is great in mercy and patience. Could you imagine if God treated us the way that we treat people? Some of us would be in hellfire as we speak, roasting like pigs in a blanket. Because the way that we deal with people sometimes is just so like, it's so despicable. And when you see it like in today's day and age, I'm like, man, we need help for real as a species. As a species, we need help. And God is so great and He's so merciful that He's not quick to damn us to hell like some of us would do to each other. The moment somebody crosses you, you can't even take a step back and say, wait a second, let me take a step back. Let me think logical. It's like, off with his head. Off with her head. Hang her. Like, it's like, wait. This person fell short. And this is something to say too. Sometimes you have to cut people off. You have to cut people off. I know people be like, oh, they my friend since we've been in kindergarten. We've been friends for years. I'm not going to cut them off. No. Because if your hair is 22 inches long, but 11 inches of that is split ends, it serves you no good. It serves you absolutely no good. Just because you have known someone for a long time does not mean you allow them to disrespect you. Does not mean you allow them to keep on betraying you. Does not mean you allow them to keep on just showing you that they don't want anything to do with you, that they don't support you, that they're not a good friend. I truly don't believe in that. Because sometimes, and this is a common thing that you'll see, oh, we grew up together. First of all, they never post your business. They don't come to any events that you host. Whenever you're going through a tough time, they disappear. If you say that you're sick, they say, all right, well, we're going to leave you home and then we're going to go. They don't even treat you right. But because you've known them since you were in first grade Miss Wilson's class, you're going to keep them around. Gotta reevaluate. I want to read something. Proverbs 27:5-6 says, open rebuke is better than love carefully concealed. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. Read that again. Open rebuke is better than love carefully concealed. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. You have to be able to correct your friends, and they must be able to correct you. Just because someone tells you what you are doing is wrong, or you tell them what they are doing is wrong, does not mean that they are fake, does not mean that they are your enemy, does not mean that they have it out for you. That is imperative to grasp. You must be able to take and give correction. That is so important. Even the Lord says, Who he loves, he chasteneth. That is extremely important because some of us, and I alluded to this earlier, do not want to step on our friends' toes because we're like, oh, like, There's honestly, for me personally, there's only so much I can let slide. If I catch it one, two, three, too many times that you don't really like correction and you kind of want to rear off on your own path constantly, even if it's a path of destruction, I completely go hands off. There's nothing I can do to help you anymore. And at this point in life, one thing I have learned is you have to leave people to God. If it's hard for God to change people, it will not be easy for you to change someone. That is point blank, period. And someone will say, oh, there's nothing too hard for God. When God changes people, he changes them gradually. And you have some cases where it's a Saul to Paul transformation, but oftentimes it's a gradual change. The Lord knows how to work with us. So he changes our desires from the inside and it translates to the outside. As you begin to put your roots deeper into the things of God, certain desires that you had before will begin to fall off you. If you had the desire to smoke, as you begin to truly dig your roots deeper into the things of God, the desire will slowly diminish. Or maybe you might just die altogether. If you had the desire to constantly go out and be drunk every weekend, as you dig your roots deeper into the things of God, as you dig your roots deeper into the truth of who Christ has called you to be and who Christ is to you, certain desires will begin to die. So it's a gradual change even for the Lord to change people. So when it comes to friendships and relationships and things like that, don't think that you can change somebody. They have been that way for the last 17, 25, 35, 96 years. If you think that you are going to come and woodly coop loop doop and change the person, you are in for a crazy ride. And that's just the reality of the matter of the fact. If you cannot accept someone as they are without change, you have to evaluate and reevaluate if that is the friend for you. If that is the person that you want to be in relationship with. Because we can't change people. I went to therapy one day and my therapist gave me a great example. She said, what would happen if you walked into somebody's garage and started fixing their car in the middle of the night? And I was like, what does she mean by that? I was like, maybe they would be scared. She was like, you would probably look to the side and see a gun in your face because you just went into someone's home, you trespassed into somebody's home, and you started doing things that nobody told you to do, and they are going to defend themselves because you just came and you intruded on what they had going on. And I was like flabbergasted. I was astounded because I was like, I didn't even think of that answer. But it's true. A lot of the times we try to save people. Like we try to save them from themselves with demons that they're comfortable with. Who told you to do that? Who told you to do that? And I think that is important to highlight because sometimes in friendships and also in relationships, we develop this savior complex. Like we're going to save people and we're going to, allow Jesus to save people. You're not Jesus. Allow him to save. That is his job. Yes, he can use you to minister to people, to encourage people, but your job should not be to save anybody. That had to go. That had to go. I had to be done with that. Once I realized in my head, in my 6-pound brain, that it is not my job to save anybody. It is not my job to heal anybody. It is not my job to deliver anybody. Jesus can use you. He can work through you, but that is not your job. You have to put that job on the Holy Spirit. That is his job. You could be a vessel, but that is not your occupation. That is his occupation, and you are the vessel. And that's very important to emphasize. The ability to forgive is extremely important when it comes to friendships. Sometimes your friends will disappoint you. I mean, I have had times in the past where it's like, I needed you to show up for me. I need you to do something for me. And you didn't do it. And I'm like, ugh. Like, what? Like, I always show up for you. Sometimes your friends will disappoint you. And it only becomes egregious when it's intentionally done with malicious intent. Once we get to that point, at that we need to go separate ways. I wish you the best and I love you, but I gotta go. Sometimes your friends will disappoint you. People go through different phases in life, and life changes. And sometimes people do things unintentionally. And you have to be able to forgive the person and say, you know what? They're going through their own stuff. Or maybe their life is changing. Or maybe I'm changing. And it may be affecting them. And they're coming at me a type of way. Or whatever the case is. And you have to be able to forgive. You cannot keep grudges. Forgiveness is another episode, because that's a whole nother thing. But you have to be able to forgive and say, you know what? We all fall short. And show your friends love. And I think that's the beauty of organic friendships that grow with time, and people change, is that you get to see the evolution of a person. My friends have seen me through so much. I mean, like, I've had friends since I was like in elementary school, middle school, high school, and they have seen me through so much. They even saw me through my delusional girl phase. I mean, that was a crazy time. That was a crazy time. Thank God for freedom. But they have seen me through so much, and I think it's so beautiful to even see the way your friends grow, the way God changes their life, the way he brings them through certain situations and elevates them. And I think that's so beautiful. The Lord just put something in my mind just now. Jealousy. If you see that God is elevating your friend, that is not the time to say, why not me? That should be me. That should be me. No, that is your time to clap your hands even louder. That is your time to even praise God for your friend even louder, because that means that the Lord is manifesting himself in the lives of those around you, which is amazing to see, because that is a demonstration that our God is still alive. I think that's very important to see. That means that God is in your neighborhood. If you see your friend getting blessed, that means he's working somewhere around. But if you sit there and you make, that should be me, that should be me, you already stifling. He was coming to your door. But you started to plot on why your neighbor is getting blessed, why your friend is getting elevated, and it's not coming to you. You just delayed yourself, because now you're mad. You can't be mad. You have to be glad. If you have jealousy in a friendship, you need to ask the Lord to search your heart. To search your heart and to change your heart posture, and to renew your mind and to renew your spirit. Because what will happen is the jealousy will begin to turn into envy. And once it begins to turn into envy, the enemy has already gotten into he's already slithered in a crack into your heart. And once the envy begins to expand, other things will start to come in that you do not want. So as the seed begins to seed, pray to the Lord and ask the Lord, purify my heart, purify my intentions. Lord, renew my mind so that I can see that because you are working in the lives of those around me, that means that I am up next. That means that you are near me. And Lord, let whatever that is flowing on them, let it flow even to me. That should be the prayer. I went off on a whim, but I had to say that. So, I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Real friends. They hold you accountable. They encourage you. You both have the ability to forgive. and you both have the ability to support each other. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like two people. No, I'm saying each other, but your group, because it could even be a group of friends. But those are important things. That's real friends. That's a real friend. Those are real friends. And if you don't have friends, or you're in a season right now where you are praying for God to give you friends, I pray that the Lord will just locate you, connect you with the right people, lead you to the right places. That's so important. If you want to make friends, you have to show yourself friendly. That's a proverb in the Bible. That is extremely true. Sometimes that even takes going to different places that you wouldn't necessarily go, like maybe going to a workout class, or maybe going to a networking event, or maybe going to see a musician that you like. I like jazz music, so I'm going to a jazz concert in May. Like, you never know who you could meet. You could meet someone at the concert. You need to do things that you like, and do things where you can actually meet people. If you like painting, take a painting class. If you like cooking, take a cooking class. If you like doing things that, you know, enrich you, there's more than likely someone else who likes to do those things as well. And that is how you meet people. So that's just my last 2 cents at the end. More like 25 cents. More like $1. But that's my last chunk of change at the end. If you like this episode, please like the video, comment, and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram and Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts at the Something Else Podcast. And be blessed. Stay healthy. Stay happy. Stay full of joy. Forget happiness, because happiness can fade. Let the joy of the Lord abide in you. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye.